Welcome to Ken's Corner Podcast, Season 4.
Hey guys, Episode 1, Season 4, Ken's Corner Podcast. We are back with the Leaf fan panel, and it's about time. We've been off for, I don't even know how long, 6 weeks or so. So I've been dying to talk some Leafs, and now we got a chance. Let's do a roll call real quick here. We got George out there in Calgary. Apparently it's snowing. October, not even, but it's snowing in Calgary. George, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
Gord in downtown Toronto. How are you doing today, Gord?
I'm doing well.
Awesome. And Phil from Parts Unknown in Durham region, my co-host coming up at the Boston Stovall Pizza. I said that wrong. Boston Pizza Stovall. I'm so excited for that night. I can't even say it right. We'll show you a flyer maybe later on. But first off, Phil Garbutt, thank you for joining me. And let's start talking about what we've seen so far and what impresses us so far about the Leafs in preseason action. George, I know you haven't had a chance to see a lot of preseason action, but for what you have seen, have you seen enough? You just want to get this season going now. I know you're getting your sports channel. Are you just ready and done with this preseason?
Well, I haven't seen enough of the games, but yes, I am ready to. I'm ready to go. Ready to watch live hockey, good hockey. I want to comment on some of the goaltending. I'm liking what I see in Stolars. I'm liking what I see with Hillaby, but he won't be in there. So let's hope Wool is ready to go.
Definitely, 100%. And it's great that you touched on it. We'll talk about goaltending along the way. Phil, your thoughts on preseason so far, please.
Preseason has definitely been interesting. There has been far too many injuries. Drew Doughty went down with a nasty fall, twisted up his leg pretty bad there. We've already got Matthews out. We got Nylander out. Tavares was hit pretty hard there. I feel as if the training camp or whatever, they had like 2 days together, and then all of a sudden they were on the ice playing games. I just felt like that it was so rushed.
Yeah, it's seems to be a lot different than it used to be, and I guess that's why we play one game for the veterans and one game for the not veterans. Gord, have you seen more from our not veterans? We seem to be winning games with guys that are destined for, well, I don't even know if we got the Newfoundland growlers anymore, but certainly for the Marlies in most cases. Are you impressed with the new blood that you've seen so far in preseason?
So far, yeah. I mean, Matthews hasn't played a whole lot. Nylander was in there for the one game before he went down. But I think there's a few of the new players I'm quite impressed with. I mean, Chris Tanev's playing like he's in mid-season already. He's not afraid to hit and get in there. Nick Robertson, that was I figured he'd be coming out guns blazing, trying to show Berube that he needs to be on the team. It's gonna be a tough call for Berube, who makes this team, because there's quite a few guys that could gladly step into the bottom six role very easily right now.
Yeah, well, we're going to touch on that more. As far as Nick Robertson, he has been the dog of the Coach Berube's very first public comment on one of his players when he pushed Nylander from behind, which eventually led Nylander to colliding with that Montreal Canadian player. He called it a bonehead play by a bonehead player. And then Nick Robertson went on to, well, essentially beat Montreal all on his own in those two games, scoring that strip away goal that he was actually drawing a penalty on. And that patented shot that seems to be Nick Robertson now. And of course, his two goals in Montreal just I guess, yesterday as we record this. George, in your mind, just from me saying what I'm saying, has Nick Robertson not finally made a place on the Leafs?
Well, if he hasn't made a place on the Leafs, he's definitely made it look really good for him for another team to pick him up. Teams would be interested in a guy like that that's able to do stuff like that. So I'm saying, I've never really had a problem with Nick Robertson, so I'm saying he does have a chance on the Leafs.
Yeah, and funny you said that because Nick Robertson can now not clear waivers as of this year. So he will be playing NHL hockey somewhere this season. Let's hope it's not through the waiver wire because let's face it, we leave Nick Robertson on the waiver wire from what he's just done so far, bar what he might do in the next 2 games against Detroit. He's definitely getting picked up by someone and probably playing top 6 minutes. Now, Phil, would you be okay with this idea? I'm going to introduce an idea for you. Although Kelly Yarncroc is still not quite healthy, you said there's been some injuries. He's one of those guys that's a little banged up. Would you move on from Kelly Yarncroc's $2.4 million if you could and put Nick Robertson up in that top 6 with Nylander and I guess who's going to be I guess it's going to be who is – help me out here. Who's going to be in that top 6?
You got Matthews, Marner, and Nyes, and then you're going to have Nylander, Domi, and you can fill in the blank on who's.
There you go, Robertson or Yarncroc, Phil.
I don't think that Robertson should get top 6 minutes. If we're going with Robertson in our top 6, I think that we got a weak spot. Has he made the team? I would probably say that he's one of our hardest working forwards. He's basically single-handedly won us the last 2 games as far as scoring wise, but with that taken into that consideration, we haven't had our top players playing. So he's not going to get the 16, 17 minutes that he has gotten the last 2 games with those guys in our lineup. He's still a 10, 12-minute guy on the third line, fourth line. His speed and his stick handling, he's got tenacity. He gets in there for a little guy, but by no means do I think that he's a top 6 on the Leafs.
Do you think that he's wasted talent on a third or fourth line?
No, I don't think that he's good enough to be in the top 6. So I think that he's a third line winger at best.
And you feel okay. I'm going to introduce this to you next, Gord. Max Pacioretty, he scores 2 goals in that first game, 1 assist. Steve Lorenz, Stanley Cup champion, Florida, Ontario boy, right from Kitchener, 6'2", 200 pounds. He played meaningful minutes right through for Florida defensively and is a power play, a penalty kill specialist. Now, do we move on from Yarncroc? Do we move on? Obviously, we're moving on from Connor Timmins. Do we move on from Liljegren? Do we move on? Who can we move on from? Do we move on from David Kampf? Can we move on from any of these players? Or do we want to bring in Pacioretty, Robertson, and essentially Steve Lorenz?
I think if they're going to do anything, they're going to have to trade Kelly Yarncroc. They can't. They've got to recoup some of that money back to the salary cap somehow, whether it's prospects or something. I will agree with Phil. I don't think Nick Robertson's going to be in the top 6 at all. I think if the reports are correct, Pacioretty's already signed a deal with the Leafs, and the PTO will be ending shortly.
He's unsigned as of yet, but it's word is he had some guaranteed money out there, and he's not coming to Toronto without that contract kind of guaranteed. And his agents actually let that out. He's going to come in at about 1.1. Now, is there somewhere that we can even send Yarncroc? Will anyone take him, George, do you think?
Well, Yarncroc is a good player. He will be in there, and he's got tenacity. So, I think someone will probably pick him up.
Well, what about keeping Yarncroc and trading David Camp? Would you do that instead?
Not with David Camp's
No.
penalty killing center
Yeah.
ice. His face off win percentage on the penalty kill, way too valuable. Way too valuable.
So,
If you're gonna
those
if
three
you if that
guys
is
and
the
still have these guys that we like. So who goes out the door? Does anyone have anyone in mind?
If you can dump
I would
Yarncroc in
say
his contract, I think that's going to be the way to go. I think Pacioretty's going to make the team regardless. So your third line is going to be Tavares, Pacioretty, and Robertson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But here's what I'm introducing to you here. With David Camp's 2.1 million, we get both Robertson and Pacioretty. Now, is that worth it?
yeah. Yes, it is. I would say
Yeah.
yes, it is.
Our
In that
power play is
case,
going to suffer.
But does it with Steve Lorenz joining that bottom pairing?
I think if you're going to put Kemp and Lorenz together, you got a pretty good
Okay.
combination
I
there.
have a question for you. I don't mean to cut you off. William Nylander told Craig Berube at the start of preseason, give me a stretch of games to see if this being a center is going to work. Now, if it does, and you know what, there isn't too many guys in the history of hockey that go into their 10th NHL season and all of a sudden become a center from a winger. Now he's a 40-goal scorer. Do we even want to drop him at center? But if we don't, who's our second line center, guys? Gord.
Okay, to answer your question on that, I think Berube is going to give him the first 10 games of the season. I think is what he had asked for originally was the first 10 games. I'm going to say this as nicely as I can. He's going back to the wing, and they're going to probably put either Pacioretty or move Tavares into the second line center role and switch some of the guys around on the third and fourth line. I don't see him staying at center. I think it's a possibility, but I think he's better on the wing than he is center, if you want my honest opinion.
Okay, here's a player we've all forgot about that probably each and every one of us expected to play 9 games for the Leafs this year. George, from what you've seen or heard, has Easton Cowan made this hockey team?
He's a pretty quick kid, and yeah, I think he's in there. I think he's made it. I'll give him that.
Phil?
I'm still on the fence. I don't know how many more playoff or preseason games that we have.
2.
He's given it his all out there. He's been a little snake bitten. He hasn't scored yet, but I mean he's an offensive talent. Like very limited guys in the league can put the puck in the net. Once he gets on a roll, I'm sure that he's going to be a bona fide NHLer. But as of right now, I mean he's only 18, 19 years old. He hasn't put in the puck in the net yet, so we'll see how the next couple of games go.
Yeah, like I said, to keep the guys that we've already spoke about and to keep Easton Cowan for 9 games, that's some juggling that I don't even know if our assistant GM, Brandon Pridham, can actually do. Gord, how do you feel about Easton Cowan so far in the preseason?
I think if they're going to keep him for the 9 games, nothing wrong with the London Knights line. To be honest with you, they played well together the other night. He hasn't scored yet, but I think he's got to get used to it. He really only has 2 options, honestly. He's either playing in the NHL or he's going back to the London Knights. He can't play in the AHL, so his only option is NHL or the London Knights.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to want to take the chance of sending him back to London for another full season and see what happens. But I think if he starts to get on a roll, you never know. It's quite possible. I'd say right now, unlike where Phil is, kind of sitting on the fence, to say, can he, in the next 11 games, 2 preseason, 9 regular season games, score a couple goals so that he deserves a spot over some. Oh,
Yeah, exactly. My feelings on it. There is some positives for him to go back to the London Knights because yes, he won the MVP last year. He won the MVP of the OHL playoffs, but he was one goal away from his team winning the Memorial Cup, and he failed to win a Canada Junior. So there's two things that Easton Cowan could actually go back and accomplish and come back like gangbusters next year. And the reason I use the word gangbusters is if he's playing in these next two games, I feel he's going to have to come out and be like gangbusters and fill the net to push away a player like Paxoretti or Robertson in a trade. Because these are the players that he's competing against. Okay, next question. Let's talk about our goaltending. Phil, our goaltending, what have you liked? What have you not liked so far?
I don't like Matt Murray still. Stolarz is playing
That's okay.
excellent.
JT's not here.
Yeah, that's good because I think he's one shot away from another broken hip or something. Stolarz has been fantastic. I mean, I like Hill to be as well when you got 13 foot of goalies. That's those two pretty big guys filling a lot of that net, making it hard on, not giving a lot of angles for shooters to take advantage of. So I think Stolarz, hopefully Wall can stay healthy, and between Stolarz and Wall they can split time.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in here real quick. And sorry, George. I think you're right. Well, I guess it's not sorry. You are right. I believe Matt Murray, although I don't think that he's going to get hurt, I think he's not going to pass through the waiver wire. I think someone's going to pick him up. Someone out there that might need a backup goalie. It's a good chance he gets a chance somewhere else, which obviously would make you happy because Hildeby in his highlight reel stops that I've seen so far, he fills that net even when he's on his stomach. So you're right, Phil. 13 feet of goalie. It's that's something to be held, right? Gord, your feeling so far on the Leafs goaltending. Are you confident in what's going in? Are you upset that Joseph Woll is not playing right now? Do you think there could be something wrong?
I don't think there's anything wrong. I think they're giving him the opportunity right now to get back from what he was injured from at the end of last year. He was doing a lot of work over the summer to get ready for the beginning of the year. I think he'll probably play the last game in Detroit, the full game, to get him ready for opening night. I'm in the same boat as Phil, to be honest with you. I don't see Matt Murray at all. I think it's going to be Wall and Stolarz. Hildeby is probably going to go back down. And if need be or something does happen to one or the other, Hildeby will be called up. But I think between them all, I mean, Stolarz has played fantastic. He's shown why he was the backup in Florida. Of them all, I mean, Matt Murray, when he was in his prime, is the only one that's played more than 50 games in a season. So, really and truly, I think between the two goalies, between Stolarz and Wall, I think if you space it out, it could be a great tandem pair, and I don't see any problem with it.
George, do you think Dennis Hildeby will get any starts as a Toronto Maple Leafs in the regular season this year?
I'd like to see it happen. Do I think it'll happen? Well, if the other two hold up and they both stay healthy, I don't think it'll happen. But I'd like to see it happen. I'd like to see Hildeby come in and be a stand-up goalie for us.
Yeah, I agree with you. Okay, we got maybe just a couple more things to address here. Guys, has the Austin Matthews captaincy stood out for you? Phil?
Yeah, I think so, man. He's the best player on our team. I think it was time for JT to and did it with class and integrity, hand over the captaincy. Matthews came in ready, came in with a big speech on opening day of training camp there, and it's nice to see a little bit more of his personality, him not just drifting to the back of the group with the press and everything and with the team. I think it's good. It's about time.
George, does the Austin Matthews captaincy
Oh,
stand
sorry.
out for you so far? Has it made a
Um,
difference?
yeah, I believe it would be he's deserved it, and exactly what Phil said. He's our best player. Um, Now, is he the type that's talking in the dressing room and making a captain moves and everything? I don't know about that, but I know he can do it on the ice.
Well, he definitely has John Tavares with wearing that A over there to lean on, and he's spoken about it a few times that he's definitely going to lean on JT during this year. Gord, you're my last here on this Austin Matthews captaincy.
I I think JT did it with class. I think he said it perfectly when he said when he signed with Toronto originally, he didn't come here to be the captain. He didn't come here to lead the team. But at that time, Austin Matthews wasn't. They felt he wasn't ready, and he felt that this was the year that it was time to pass the torch and give him what he should have been given previously. But he said himself he wasn't ready originally. In terms of what George said, I don't think he's going to be the guy that's going to be going in at the second period or anything like that, having a freak out on the team. But I do think at the beginning of the game, he will be the guy that gets them fired up to go out onto the ice. I think there's going to be a few veterans in that room that'll be kind of his backup to say something if it starts to go seriously wrong, or they see something that he's not seeing.
Nice. Thank you very much. We're down to our last 9 minutes, but we're going to address two more things, guys, before we announce what Phil and I are doing coming up soon. We all know Craig Berube is our new coach. I'm sure we're all pretty happy about that. But are you guys looking forward? We'll start with Phil. You looking forward to that game number 2? I know game number 1. We'll talk about that in 1 second. But game number 2 is against former head coach Sheldon Keefe. Are you looking forward to seeing Sheldon Keefe behind another bench and see what we can do against him?
Is it in Toronto or New Jersey?
I believe it's in New Jersey, but don't
Well,
hold
I won't,
that.
well, he might get booed enough down there too. It depends on how bad the team's prepared, I guess, when we thump the crap out of them.
Yeah. Gord, are you looking forward to seeing Sheldon Keefe?
I think overall, with the way that Craig Berube is going to go into that game with the team, it's just going to be let it fly, boys. Show them who you are. And I think overall, I think the Leafs are going to thump New Jersey, whether it's in New Jersey or here at home. If it's here at home, that place is going to get extremely loud very quickly.
George, what's your feelings on Sheldon Keefe? Are you just ready just for hockey?
Well, I can tell you that they're definitely, like the other two have said, they're definitely going to come out with attitude, and give New Jersey a good run for the money and a good thumping, because you know Sheldon Keefe was a little bit of a softie, and now Berube's in behind our bench, and he's coming out fist to flying.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that 1 second, because we play Montreal Canadiens next Wednesday night, which is also what leads me into the final thing that I'm going to talk about, our live at the Stouffville Boston Pizza. Said it a little bit better this time. But George, we're going to start with you. Does Mr. Jackeye, I'm not going to say his name wrong, does he have to answer to Ryan Reeves for what he did for minor leaguer Cedric Paré? Or I'm sure you're hoping to see it. Is that going to happen?
Unfortunately, I didn't get to see what happened there, but I'm hoping that sure Reeves comes out and gives them a thumping. I don't like Montreal anyways, so that would be great.
Phil.
Yeah, you know what? It was an accidental hit by Paré on line A. There's no intent to injure there. There was definitely an intent to injure by Jack Guy. That was a full out jumping of a man who wasn't protecting himself in any way, shape, or form. The guy was down on the ice, helmet off, and you're still pounding away on him. Damn right, you're going to answer the bell when Reeves is running one of your guys.
And Gord, I know you're very vocal on this, so I'm going to give you your last final word, as long as it's not too long, please.
Oh, I am very, very vocal on this. I don't think any player at all should ever be punched 7 times in the head when they're not defending themselves. I don't care who it is, doesn't matter, period. That is not a player that is going to and or wants to fight you. I think Reeves is going to come out in game 1 of the season and is just going to lay a pounding on him. If he doesn't, I could see a couple of other players that may just probably end up running over one of their players and seeing if he's going to stand up for them. There was no intent to injure. There was no intent to hurt him. It was honestly accidental contact. One was going one way, one was going the other way, and they collided. I think if it was an NHL caliber player, then I would have said they probably would have dropped the gloves and gone at it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Real quick, your score for the Toronto-Montreal home opener, season opener.
I'm going to say 4-2 Toronto.
George, your prediction?
3-1 Toronto.
Phil?
3-2 overtime winner.
Who gets it?
Toronto.
No, I get that, but who scores that overtime winner?
Fucking Nylander.
Hey, watch the language. Where's Nylander?
Oh, not Alex.
And I want to leave you with this. Maybe. Okay, so this is our live event coming up at the Stovall Boston Pizza. Myself hosting with Leaf fan panelists. Your boy, Phil Garbutt, right there, guys. Joe Tilley, Brian McFarland, Jim Mason from Stovall, Coach TJ Hill of the Stovall Spirit, and Stovall's hero, Keith Acton, guys. It's going to be a great event. You can catch it. You guys can watch it too. I wish you were down here. I let all you guys co-host it with me. But if you want to watch it, just go onto YouTube, go to Ken's Corner Podcast, subscribe, and you can watch it there. Or on Facebook if you prefer to do that, Gord. It's going to be live on my Ken Judge page and, of course, TikTok. Phil's got a beautiful mask. Game 1 winner, 5-1 Toronto. Joseph Wall stands on his head as well. And we're going to end up first. Thing going out. I disagree with Elliot Friedman. Yes or no, guys? Will Ottawa Senators make the playoffs this year, Phil?
No chance.
Why did he write that in marker?
I'm going to say that is a no-go. They have too.
Okay, guys.
Too much.
We'll see you. Oh, I just want to let you guys know, Gord, you are first up as mine and Joe Moyer's special guest on our newly minted Ken's Corner Sports Timeout. So you're going to join us next Sunday to talk Leafs, all Leafs. You guys will be back, George and Phil, right here on Leafs fan panel. And I hope JT and Ian will join us. And we'll have another great talk right here. Gord, we'll see you back on the Leaf fan panel in 2 weeks. But I'm interested in hearing, because you're our special guest. So it's going to be a lot of talking for you, Gord. I hope you're ready for it. We'll see you next week. I'll let you know what time that is. My name's Ken. We're here on Ken's Corner Podcast, Season 4, Episode 1 of Season 4, which is exciting. Leafs fan panel. Thanks, guys. You have a great day.
Have a good one.
Go Leafs, go.